She survived Helios? She would. Resourceful. As for losing Helios 1, that was the only outcome aside from retreat. NCR swarming like ants over old world relics. Hoover Dam. Helios. I won't let those children seize anything else. Harden. McNamara can't stop them. Won't. So I will. With the old world as my weapons. Wipe the slate clean. Make the Mojave like it was meant to be. Undisturbed by man. I'll set the cloud, the holograms, bring moon in my hands until only I stand atop the Helios 1 tower again. I'll scour the dam with the cloud, rain its walls with spears from the sun, with an army of old world ghosts behind me, holograms all. I'll kill them until it's only me alone. In a quiet world. In a world that's nothing like what happened at Helios 1. Their days were numbered since they occupied Hoover Dam.
When we meet the Brotherhood of Steel in Fallout New Vegas, they're in weak form, hidden away in a bunker to avoid the larger factions of the Mojave. They're in a lockdown where very few members are allowed to leave their base. The game explains exactly what led them to this reality, and it's largely because of one man, a man named Elijah. Elijah was a scribe within the Brotherhood, a brilliant one at that, one so effective that he would become an elder of the Brotherhood, which is a rank usually only given to paladins. If paladins are the brawn of the Brotherhood of Steel, the scribes are its brains. While paladins get to don the power armor and use the big laser or plasma weapon, a scribe likely made sure that that weapon was in a functional state. The Brotherhood of Steel, as many of you know, is more focused on technology than recreating an old world society like the NCR or Legion. The scribes act as a backbone to this prerogative. Elijah fit this role well, and perhaps a bit too well at that. Elijah begins his life in the Brotherhood in California, but because Elijah was so hyper-focused on technology, he would run into issues. See, the Brotherhood of Steel is all about the preservation and collection of technology. Elijah took this a step further, as he wanted to experiment and develop technology past its pre-war state, and he was willing to risk the lives of others to acquire his means of achieving his goals. By the time he became an elder, his apparent issues and unbridled ambition would be on full display to the other elders of the Brotherhood, including the High Elder. To deal with this radical now in their ranks, they would send him out east, towards the Hoover Dam and the Mojave Wasteland. This speaks to the state of the Brotherhood at this point in time, as they were just unwilling to address an elder, so they tossed him along with many members to uncharted territory just to get the issue away from them. And unsurprisingly, Elijah's issues as a leader would become more and more apparent as he drew further and further into isolation. Now separated by the rest of the Brotherhood and off into the Mojave with his own group, he would begin to lose himself in his obsessions. He wanted those beneath him to carry out his orders, put their lives on the line, and ask no questions, provide no comment. This was further reinforced by him largely communicating through terminal messages to deliver orders. This is the equivalent of your boss sending you a text message to get things done and never addressing you in person. It's not exactly a great way for a leader to inspire his people and give them purpose in their dogmatic cause. The only person he would have a more than surface level relationship with was Veronica Santangelo, the power fist wielding companion we meet at Route 188. Veronica is a field scribe in the Brotherhood, and as stated, by this time the Brotherhood is in a strict lockdown, but Veronica is one of the few allowed out of their bunker. The Brotherhood sends her out for practical reasons such as gathering supplies and technology, but the real reason she is out there is similar to the reason Elijah was sent out east. The other members of the Brotherhood just don't want to deal with her. There's a striking parallel between Elijah and Veronica, and perhaps that's because Veronica was the pupil of Elijah. Veronica's parents were both killed in battle with the NCR. The Brotherhood, of course, would continue to raise and protect the child of their fallen members, but Elijah would be the one to take her under his wing. He started as her educator, but through this would eventually become her parental figure. She saw him as a grandfather. Unfortunately, he would deeply betray Veronica by the time his Brotherhood needed to leave for the Mojave. Veronica was in love with another young woman in the Brotherhood named Christine Royce. Christine and Veronica would be ripped apart forcibly as members of the Brotherhood disapproved of their relationship, including Christine's parents. Elijah would put the final nail in the coffin by using his role as elder to have Christine removed and initiated in a branch of the Brotherhood of Steel known as the Circle of Steel, an order meant to deal with internal conflicts within the Brotherhood. How ironic. Veronica knew none of this, believing Christine's parents were to blame and believing that Christine abandoned the Brotherhood. Veronica, distraught and broken, would stay with the only family she knew, Elijah. Now that Elijah had made his way to the Mojave with his sect of the Brotherhood, they would begin to head towards the Hoover Dam. It was too late, though, as the New California Republic would have laid claim to the dam already. This roadblock would merely redirect Elijah's focus towards the solar power facility known as Helios 1. For some time, the Brotherhood and the NCR both existed in the New Vegas region without conflict, but it wouldn't be long before fighting would begin. As a major battle of the Brotherhood-NCR wars, the NCR would launch Operation Sunburst, an assault led on Helios 1, which was heavily fortified by Elijah's Brotherhood. Again, we have to remember that Elijah was a scribe, not a paladin. He was obsessed with discovering the secret technology of Helios 1, of Archimedes 2. This weapon was an energy-based artillery satellite made by the pre-war company Poseidon Energy, which owned and created the Helios 1 power facility. This weapon would have proved devastating to NCR forces and likely could have turned the tides of battle. Elijah would not uncover the weapon in time, as the NCR vastly outnumbered the Brotherhood forces, eventually overwhelming them. Elijah would refuse to allow his Brotherhood to retreat. He expected them to give their lives to a cause he would barely inform them of, and after ignoring advice from the experienced paladins telling him this was a losing battle and they needed to retreat, the Brotherhood would eventually abandon Elijah at Helios 1 and make their escape to Hidden Valley, where they would accept Nolan McNamara as their new elder, and he would place the Mojave Brotherhood in their strict lockdown. This instance is what has led to the current state of the Brotherhood of Steel by the time of New Vegas. They rely so heavily on their chain of command that this fault and lapse in leadership has scarred them like a bad parent might scar a child. To pair that with the fact that the NCR defeated them and they lost many members on that day during Operation Sunburst, they also lost trust in their leader, who was willing to throw their lives away without even having the decency to tell them why. In response, Elijah would vanish, likely infuriated by the Brotherhood leaving him, while also knowing his blunder would destroy his reputation as elder. Because of his failures and desertion, the Brotherhood would mark Elijah for execution, which would be carried out by none other than the Circle of Steel, the branch of the Brotherhood Christine was sent to. Elijah had not given up on the Brotherhood still. They may be trying to hunt him down, but he has not abandoned his cause, which is a cause meant to help reform the Brotherhood, bring change to them, and turn the tides of battle for the wasteland in their favor by any means necessary. He's a rogue agent for them, acting on their behalf without acknowledging their desires or orders. He has his own vision for them, and he continues to fight for it despite their disapproval of him. He would begin traveling the wasteland to find the technology that could help enact his goals. Elijah would walk the divide, oddly not discovering the potential in the nuclear missile silos which could have obliterated the NCR and the Legion. He would also meet a group known as the Ciphers, who were a technologically fluent tribe enamored by pre-war schematics. The Ciphers lived within NCR territory, but far off in the hills, out of sight and out of mind of the NCR. Elijah would finally begin to gain some ground when he discovered the technological research facility known as Big Empty. He would be captured by the brain-bot scientists, much like the courier when they end up there, but Elijah would keep his brain and body parts and escape the scientists within seconds, a testament to his genius. He would also cross paths with a courier while he was in the Big Empty, a man named Ulysses who was a former Frumentari of the Legion. Ulysses would inform Elijah of the Sierra Madre along with its alluring broadcast. Elijah's plans and travels were beginning to take form. He was in a scientific playground and now had direction towards something that neither the NCR or the Brotherhood had their hands on yet. Before the Sierra Madre, he would first go to a location in Big Empty known as Little Yangtze. This location is particularly horrific, and Elijah's connection and use of it displays his willingness to throw morals and ethics out the window to achieve what he wants. Little Yangtze was a pre-war concentration camp for Chinese American citizens during the Sino-American War that led to the Great War, which is likely a reference to the real-world American concentration camps for Japanese American citizens during World War II. Elijah would use the facility and its surviving ghoul inhabitants to perfect his use of explosive collars, which would allow him control over those who wore them. He would also discover the mysterious radio signal of the Sierra Madre and begin tracking down its location. Simultaneously, the Brotherhood would still be on his trail, and they would send an assassin from the Circle of Steel after Elijah. The assassin would be none other than Christine Royce, Veronica's former love. Elijah would notice her sniper scope glint, and to create chaos and confusion, he would detonate all of the test subjects' collars in Little Yangtze. Christine would be knocked out unconscious by the explosions of the collars, but not killed. Instead, she would be rescued by the Big Empty robotic staff, who would take her to the Y-17 medical facility. Unfortunately for Christine, this was an experimental medical facility that would do significant damage to her brain. Eventually, the courier Ulysses would save her from the facility. He would inform her of where Elijah was heading, and she would continue her dogged pursuit of the man that had not only done her, but so many others wrong. She was determined to put an end to his atrocities. Elijah had other plans, however. The Madre was full of exactly what he needed. The mysterious toxic cloud could purify the Mojave wasteland of all who opposed him. The security holograms would be devastating to any foe, as conventional weapons were nearly useless against them. The NCR or Legion would blast away, and the holograms would be unaffected as they chopped down forces. Furthermore, the Sierra Madre vending machines were a special technology that was able to generate important resources through raw material. This technology, in the right hands, in Elijah's hands, could feed a nation, supply an army, and much more. He would also be able to use the vending machines to mass produce his explosive collars and use them to control his new regime. Elijah would use his collars and a nightkin named Dog to assemble teams that could crack open the Sierra Madre and its vault so he could reach the secrets of the technology and begin to use it for his plans. Many of the teams would die, however, but one team got him past the villa and into the casino. This team would then die as well shortly after, leaving Elijah trapped within the Sierra Madre. That is, until a certain courier is lured with the very broadcast that got Elijah's attention. Christine would also make her way to the Madre, just to end up captured by Elijah and have one of his explosive collars attached to her. The courier and Christine would be locked together in a team, along with the Nightkin Dog and Dean Domino, who we discussed in a previous video. In the end, Elijah and Christine would be consumed within the Madre. Elijah would not be able to let go, his plans always a far cry from reality. He always felt he was just on the brink of great discovery, but in reality he was spiraling. His ego, his ambition, his failures all wrapped around him like weights as he sunk deeper and deeper into madness. Christine, abused and wronged by Elijah throughout her life, would also succumb to her misplaced desire for vengeance. She was emotionally wrapped up in Elijah, while he barely thought about her as more than an obstacle or tool, depending on the circumstance. This allowed him to always be one step ahead of her, and what eventually led to Christine's demise. She would remain in the Sierra Madre as well, unable to let go of the past. Father Elijah was a brilliant scribe who at times had the interests of others in mind. He took it upon himself to raise Veronica, led a group to the frontier for the Brotherhood, and remained devoted to ghouls supporting the vision of the Brotherhood despite being marked for death by them. His influence would leave a deep impression on Veronica, as she wants to see the Brotherhood adapt and change as well, albeit in a far less extreme way than Elijah. Despite all the death and damage he caused, perhaps his influence over Veronica will be the one catalyst the Brotherhood needs to ensure they survive the test of time. Thanks for watching.
Open the vault. I can make it worth your while. Think about what you're throwing away. I have other weapons, other technology I can share with you. And the Big Empty, I know the way there. I know some of its secrets. If the callers were a mistake. I see that now. Why would I kill you? After all you've done, after all we've done together. Are you listening to me? Everything down here, I swear, so much you could see. You could rule the wastes with what's down here. Make your own army, reshape the world. And if others disagree, put collars on them. I can show you how. Don't you leave me here. You can't do this to me. It's getting dark in here. Machine's losing power. No, I still have Pip-Boy light. Maybe. Look, it doesn't work. Where's the door? Can't find the door. Calm. Been in worse situations. Find a way out. Somehow. Then find that courier. Maybe Veronica. No, she thinks I'm dead. Must be someone. Maybe that other courier. One with a flag on his back. Maybe. No. Said he'd never come to the Sierra Madre. No way out. Can't end like this. You. I know you can hear me. When you die, courier, I'll be waiting. Your grave's going to look just like this vault. When you die, I'll be waiting here.